Good afternoon. How y'all doing? It's an honor to be here, represent Troy University. It really is. Excited about being the new head coach there, and growing up in that state, Troy obviously very special to me. Working there before and being able to come back home and work has really been exciting. I want to thank the Sun Belt Conference. What a great event here at the Superdome. Our new commissioner, Keith Gill, just a really first-class event, and my first experience here at Sun Belt Media Day, so I'm excited about that. We got a lot of great things going on at Troy, a lot of great momentum, new buildings, new facilities all around campus. I think the momentum we have is outstanding, and that's our chancellor, Dr. Jack Hawkins, is a guy that has really kind of spearheaded that. So really, really thankful for him and him doing everything he does for Troy. Our facilities, obviously, you guys know we got a new north end zone facility that's been outstanding. Just opened this past year, which has really been exciting for recruiting. Obviously, our fan base is outstanding. Those guys getting to meet a lot of those fans in the first 6 months on the job at Trojan Tour and so forth has been great. And then I think our culture is great. I think tip your hat to Neil and his staff, Coach Blakeney, even way back. Our guys at Troy, I think, are in a great spot. They're good kids. They're good people. They do what we ask them to do, which is really exciting. And therefore, I think we're in a good spot to get ready for 2019. I think the first 6 months, I said it's fast, furious, and exciting. It really was. Building a staff, I think, was the biggest thing we did. We got the right kind of guys here. We was able to hire some guys I had worked with in previous stops, people that I think represent the right things that we want to do at Troy, that have the same core values as we do. Recruiting, obviously, it's 24/7, 365, finishing off that class. Thought we did a nice job adding to what Neil and those guys already had, and then was able to finish with a flurry there with adding 6 more guys. And then the big thing for me has been getting to know our team. It's unusual when you take over a team. I think people forget sometimes there's a lot of learning that goes on there. Some of them I was familiar with from recruiting at other places, but the biggest thing was, getting in the homes of the recruits that we had already signed or already committed, getting to know our own team, having dinners, to get to know those guys. And then obviously the 15 practices we got on the spring was really huge for us. And I think it established our identity, and that's what we're trying to do. Our core values, character, smart, discipline, tough, those are the things we talk about every day with our players. And that's who we're trying to recruit, guys that have those same values. And then, have great energy, attitude, and body language. Our players hear that all the time. And those are things that we've tried to establish what we call TKGs, Troy kind of guys that kind of fit Troy. And I think that's where Troy's had the success in the past, and we're continuing to do that. We got 7 returning starters on offense. From an offense that ended up, with losing Caleb Barker, the starting quarterback last year, that really became effective and got the job done. I thought the previous staff did a great job of that, play into the strengths of the offense, built around a different style quarterback than they thought they were going to have. Defensively, we got 4 returning starters. We did take some hits in some areas in the D-line and in the secondary, but I really like our young players. I think we got a lot of young players that now are going to get their opportunity, and they're in a great situation. Our specialists, our kicker, our punter, our holder are all back, so excited about that. Obviously, Tyler Sumter is one of the better kickers in the league, so it's always good to have a kicker. You're going to need those guys in clutch situations. Our home schedule, we got a great home schedule. We play Campbell at home to kick off the season on August 31st. Home games against Southern Miss, Arkansas State, South Alabama, Georgia Southern, App State. Exciting home schedule that I know our fan base is really excited about, and hopefully it'll be a huge advantage for their playing at home. I brought 2 guys with me today, Caleb Barker, 2 seniors, our quarterback, who obviously you guys remember him from last year, had the ACL injury. He's back full speed, 100%. Limited in the spring just to keep him from getting rolled up or anything, but really thought he did a great job. When he's in there, it feels different. He's established himself as one of our leaders. He's matured. He's a mature kid. He's grown in that respect. He's married, so he better be mature, right? But it's a unique guy, and really excited about him. And then Melvin Tice is a 5th-year player from Montgomery, Alabama, who's a safety for us. He's one of our leaders. He's kind of a lunch pail guy, show up and go to work, not a lot of flair, and is a great leader for us. So excited about 2019. We're about to kick this thing off, and usually, when you come to media days, that's what it means. It's right around the corner. So I know our fan base, our program, we're excited about that. Any questions?
When a new coach takes over, we're obviously talking about there's a learning curve, new systems, concepts, and all that. But with the fact that what you guys are doing on both sides of the ball, terminology-wise and things are similar to what Neil and those guys did, do you think that gives you a leg up in that regard?
I sure hope so. That was one of the things I thought with the transition, having two coaches back on offense that were here before, two coaches back on defense, that was important to me. One thing that we've always said is we never try to forget that our players are the most important thing in anything we're doing. And I think when you have a transition, if you can have some similarities on both sides of the ball, I think it just speeds up the transition process. We are very similar to what they did on offense. Some terminology a little different, but overall, I don't think our players feel the stress of having to learn a whole new offense and defense.
To follow up his question, Coach, right here, what can the fans look to be the same, and how do you put your own stamp on the program?
Yeah, I think there'll be a similar style of play. I mean, if you remember 2006, I think Tony Franklin came to Troy and became the offensive coordinator. Coach Blakeney made the decision to go to a spread offense, and then Neil followed him, and I replaced Neil then. So it's kind of always been in that same family. So I think we'll be very similar. We'll build the team around the strengths of our 2019 team, which obviously we think we got a good idea what that is, but sometimes it takes a little time during the season to get that going. Defensively, we'll be very similar. I think that was the key, hiring Brandon Hall as our defensive coordinator. He's a guy that was part of that defensive success last year. He's able to mesh some of his ideas with what they've done and had success with in the past. So all in all, I think it'll be a similar look, but at the same time, I think that's yet to be determined until we get going.
Coach, obviously you're from Alabama. You've coached at the high school and college levels in Alabama. Knowing what you knew already about Troy, what have been the strengths and weaknesses that you have to kind of face that are both benefiting and the challenges that you face becoming the head coach of Troy?
You know, I think the strength in our of being here at Troy is the tradition that we have. We've had success for long, extended periods of time, and I think we have name recognition in the recruiting area, in the 6-hour radius around Troy. When you talk about the state of Alabama, we have several high school coaches on our staff that were high school coaches in the state, over into Georgia and the Panhandle. So I think that's definitely a strength. You know, weaknesses, I don't know what weaknesses we would have other than we need to make sure that we focus on getting better each and every single day. Just don't look too far ahead about somebody we play week 4 or 5. Let's focus on the first game we play, and if we'll do that and have that mentality, I think we'll have success.
You mentioned some young players earlier and how you're excited about them. Could you elaborate on some of those players and who they are?
Carlton Marshall is a guy that was a freshman All-American for us at linebacker that we're going to have for 3 more years, so really excited about him. I'm excited about the opportunity for him to become the leader of our team. On offense, I think Luke Whittemore is a guy that has played some, but he had a great spring. I expect big things out of him this year. A couple newcomers, Reggie Todd, Khalil McClain, 2 wideouts. DK Billingsley is a guy from Scottsboro, Alabama that had a great spring. He's a running back that'll kind of be in there with BJ. And Jabir Fry also has played some for us. I think those are a few guys that as the season rolls, you'll hear their name a lot.
You're an air raid offense. It's kind of a misnomer. People take that to mean that y'all are going to be, just in 4 or 5 wide slinging it down the field every time. But, when you look at Neil's teams, they ran the football. Their line of scrimmage was very important to him. Is that a philosophy you also share?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you go back to when, at Southern Miss, we had 2 1,000-yard rushers in the season. We're running the same offense we did there. So, for us, I think the air raid is obviously who we are, and that's what we're going to be. We're going to always have quarterbacks that have the ability to throw the football. But at the end of the day, I think, and Neil's a great example of that last year, you put the ball in the hands of your playmakers, and that's what we're going to do. Whoever our best playmakers are, hey, let's make sure we get these guys the ball as many times as we can. A lot of times that's a running back, and you don't have to just hand it to them. You can throw screens to them. You can throw it to them in the passing game, line him up in various spots. So I think BJ, DK, and Jabir Fry all are capable of doing that, and we'll definitely, it comes down to a numbers game. If there's too many in the box, we need to throw it. If there's not, we need to run it and try to keep it that simple.